Here's the tree from the front now, and you can see my left hand side here has balanced the right hand side quite a bit more. It's got that nice kind of cedar style canopy to it. Lots of upright, thicker branches, which looks good. So next, you can see those trees fanning out at the base down here. They just kind of go up and disappear into a massive green. You can't really see their individual trunk lines or what's really going on there. So that'll be my next task, is to kind of define those more, to clean them up so you can see those actual trunk lines and sort of the apexes of those smaller trees. I'm looking at each tree from the front here and trying to, get some definition in each tree. Do a little cleanup work here. Get rid of this branch. It's kind of shading out another branch below it. There's a branch growing inside here we can remove. I can remove. There's a branch kind of crossing in front of your eye here. Get rid of that. Another branch growing inside here I'll remove. Like that. That kind of cleans up that outer one. Now this next trunk here, there's 3 main trunks growing, so I've cleaned up the outer one. The next is to try and find, okay, so this one, the second one in, has a really tall branch that just shoots out here. It's way too tall. So I've got to reduce that back. And I think I'll take it off. Right here. Like that. That takes a lot off that branch. It's still probably too tall though, but now, there's a lot of branches down low here, which I don't know if I need them anymore. To be able to see these trunk lines, all these lower branches are kind of blocking them. Maybe. I don't know. We don't want it to look too unnatural either. Like I said, there's a fine balance between, a natural looking tree and one that's looks too artificial. So I'll just clean up. There's a branch hanging in front here. I'll get rid of that, and this one. That looks better. Take this one off. I don't want all these branches overlapping each other. They each have to have their own spot of light. Take this one off. That's definitely better. There's a lot of funny stuff going on with this second trunk. It comes up and then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches kind of coming from one spot. So maybe 6. There's one out the back too. That's going to need a lot of cleanup. So here's the front view of that branch that needs all that cleanup. It's right here. There's all these branches coming out from one spot. I do like branches, but not all from the same place. So there's one out the back here. Is that too low? Let me look. I think it is. I'll start by taking that really low branch off out the back here. Like that. Now I've got 2 coming from this spot. The one kind of reaches out the back, and the other one kind of crisscrosses behind that trunk. So if I was to, If I was to keep one, I would keep the one out the back. So I'm going to get rid of this one in here. Like that. Now, I've got, coming up from this, I've got two branches, one at the back and one at the front, that are the main trunk of the tree. So I've got to pick one to be, you know, the trunk line, and the other either prune it off or make it a back branch. I was looking from the front. The one at the back has a nice flow line with the trunk. The one here isn't quite as nice. It kind of kinks in and out. So if I did take this one off, I would leave it as a deadwood feature on the top and then grow this back one as the trunk line. So I'll just have another look from the front before I make my final decision. I've thought about it a lot. I've looked at it. I was checking what it would look like without this in here, and it actually looks better. So, and I was seeing, this kind of spoils the trunk line. I think if I cut it right off and let this back one grow, it would eventually blend in quite nicely. So I'm thinking of removing this entire branch and the stump underneath it. I've decided that's definitely what I'm going to do. This back branch has got a lot of nice movement to it too. So I'm just going to cut that branch off roughly for now, right here. Gone. And next, I got to get rid of that stump. So here I go with that. Let's come in and just like that. Hopefully from the front that looks better. I'm going to come around and have a look. I like it much better. I will have to come in now and clean up some of the branches on this tree, just shortening them, just to keep it nice and compact and growing well. And there's a branch coming off here towards the back that I think I'll just take this vertical upper part off like that. And the rest of it looks pretty good. I'll just shorten it a bit. Okay, so now I can go on to this last little tree back here and get that pruned up. I was looking at that second trunk, and there's a stub here where a major branch was pruned off before. I've got to clean that up. So okay, so here I go. Yeah, I think that looks much better. You can kind of see that nice trunk line. You can see this nice trunk line. This one could be shortened. Now that I've shortened the one behind there, I think I should shorten this one also. Back to there. Maybe even shorter. Maybe back to here. Yeah, that's much better. Let's take the tip off here. There. Okay, on to this trunk line now. So it has a little branch out front here, which I don't mind too much. I think if I got rid of that, it would look too bare in this area. So I'll just pinch it back, make it more compact, and so it's there but not quite as dominant. And now we've got to clean up the trunk line for this one too. It comes up, it's got kind of 3 branches growing from the one spot, and it also comes up into the canopy of the main tree, so definitely needs shortening. Now there's a lot of possibilities here. Probably to here would be the best. So I'll take it off right here, like that. There's a branch up here that's kind of blocking out light getting to these lower trunks. It's a nice kind of horizontal branch, but it's quite long too. I could prune it back as far as I can, which I've almost done that already. I think I've just got to take it right off. There's a branch kind of behind it here that could take over, so I'm just going to take that right off, like that. I'm out front looking at the overall shape and trying to decide what to do with all these branches coming off that, that little trunk closest to the main tree. It's not horrible the way it looks now. I think if I just keep the one branch as the main leader, and the other two I'll just prune back a little shorter, and I think that will be it. I'm in behind the tree now, and I'm just looking at these branches. So this is my main apex. I better take that off. And these other branches need to be shortened, so they're more like sort of back branches, so they don't compete with that main leader. Just take them off right there. Reduce the size of the branches down a bit. And I think that's pretty good. I don't think there's a lot more I can do with that. I'll reduce some of these branches up top here so they're not shading out my trunks down here. So that's another reason I have to lighten this area. Otherwise it shades out all these trunks below. So I'll have a lot of thinning to do back here. I'm going to rotate the tree around to the back here. Now I have this branch here which is sort of hanging down from this main branch up here, and it doesn't really do anything. There's no foliage in closer. I couldn't prune it shorter. It's kind of just blocking out these other trunks, and it doesn't really do anything for the design of the tree. If I got rid of that, no one would even notice, so I will. I'm going to get rid of that. I also have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches growing from almost the same spot here. So any branches I eliminate from that area is just bonus. So here I go. That's gone. That branch is nice. It's coming down from the base of that one. I could remove this upper part of that one. Or I could eliminate that thing entirely from the base there. If I did that, I don't think I want to do that because it kind of fills in the back of the tree here. Yeah. I will eliminate this one above it that kind of crosses over top, so get rid of that. Yeah, I'm still a little worried about all these branches coming out from one spot here. I'll turn the tree around the front and I'll see if there's any I could eliminate that wouldn't be that noticeable. I think this one here, I don't think I need that. I've got lots of foliage. It's just kind of cramped in there, so I'll get rid of that one. Yeah, so here I go. I'm looking at that same area here, and I have a very thick branch that kind of comes out front and goes up. There's another branch off here, so it's kind of like a Y in front of the main trunk, and I need this branch on this side because it helps fill in this area of the tree. But I'm worried about this branch. I know I bent it up there. I'm just worried about having so many branches in this area. If I were to cut that off, the earlier I cut it off, the more time it has to heal over. If I keep leaving it, it'll just keep getting thicker. So I've got to make a decision today on that branch. It does bring some three-dimensionality to the tree out front. Remember how the tree was kind of flat on the front, so that helps. It doesn't bother me a whole lot. Tough decision. Well, I've made my decision. I'm going to remove both this branch and this one here. It's a tough decision, but I think for the future of the tree, you know, I can always grow more branches out towards the front from these other branches. I just don't like that basic structure having 1, 2, 3 branches all coming from one spot. I think it's kind of ugly now, and I think it'll just continue to get worse in future. So I've decided to take both those off. It's going to maybe look a little funny, but yeah, here I go. So I want to carve this one so it looks natural. So I'll come in and prune it off the best I can for starters. Here I go. Big cut coming up. Gone. Now, let's have a look at it. I think this branch is also going to bother me in future. It's kind of growing from this side and it comes across. Yeah, I do like the way it has foliage out here, but again, it's a major structural problem that I've got to address. I just can't have that. Okay, off it goes. It's got to go off. Sure cleans up that trunk line a lot better. Now the last one I was going to take off was this one, but I've got to decide, you know, if I do want to take that off. It might be better to take off this little one below it. Or keep both, I don't know. Well, I've got to clean this cut up here so it calluses over and looks very natural. You can see where I took a branch off here and I stripped it down here. And it's starting to callus over. It looks really good. Could use a little more cleanup up top here, but so I want to do the same with this. I want to clean this cut up so it looks, hollow it out kind of, so it heals over nicely. So that's about as flush as I can get it, and I'm happy with that. I think that'll look good. I've decided that I am going to keep this thicker one up top, but I will get rid of the smaller one down below. It also comes, there's a back branch here, so there's 2 branches coming from the same spot. And this one, they kind of crisscross, interfere here, and I can develop this into a nice branch in future. So I'm going to get rid of that smaller, lower one. So here I go, and I'll leave a stump on that one because it's got some nice movement to it. Just like that. Maybe. I'll shorten it a little more. Like that. I think that's looking much better. It's cleaned up the front of the tree quite nicely. And again, I'm allowing for the future of the tree. I'm trying to eliminate all the big problems with it to set it up for, you know, the years ahead. Here's a look at the tree now, and I'm really happy with the decisions I made today. Some of them weren't easy, but I think in the long run, it's really going to improve the quality of this tree. I think I addressed a lot of problem areas on it and corrected them, and they'll heal over, and someday you won't even notice I had to make a tough decision on the tree. Today, it's gotten really cold outside. My spring fever from the last video it's cooled down. Today, it's 20 degrees in the plant room with 39% humidity. So when it gets cold outside, the plant room cools down a bit too, which is okay for the plants. The lowest it gets is about 17 when it's like minus 24 degrees outside. So it stays an okay temperature in here, even on the coldest days. I'll fly you in now and we can have a look at the details of the tree. So it has 5 trunks at the base down here. And that was just dug up like that naturally. The height was reduced down. You can see there was a major branch taken off there, and I kind of stripped it down the front, which is healing over really nicely, giving the trunk some nice character. The bark is getting flaky again. I usually get a toothbrush and scrape off all the flaky bark. So I will probably do that after I repot it in spring. I don't mind the pot for it. Maybe I have to rake away. It just kind of bulges out of the pot. The pot's rounded on the bottom and the soil's rounded on the top. The two looks like a Zeppelin or something from the side view. So that would have to be corrected. And I may just be able to rake out some of the soil from the top. I don't know how much root mass is in here. I can see a lot of roots growing across the surface of the soil here. So yeah, that'll be a spring job. So I think I've had the tree up here long enough, and I think it's time to put it away back into cold storage until spring comes. That's all the work I'll be doing on my clump style cedar forest today. It's time now for today's update. Today's update is my Pink Pixie Bougainvillea bonsai. It needs pruning again. My Pink Pixie Bougainvillea bonsai just seems to get more and more vigorous every year. It's just really taking off this year. So there's a lot of new shoots that just need pruning back. So I'll do some directional pruning here and remove some of these long shoots. I think that's got the bougainvillea back under control. There was just about 5 or 6 shoots that were starting to get really long and needed pruning back just to equalize the vigor in the canopy. So now it's time for viewers' picks. Ben from Australia has recently taken up bonsai as a new hobby, and here's pictures of some of his trees. Thanks everyone who sends in viewers' picks. I am about 2 to 3 months behind on my viewers' picks, but I will get to them all eventually. So thanks for watching today. I'm Nigel Saunders. We'll see you next time here in the Bonsai Zone.